The world is full of mysteries that defy explanation. We're about to dive into 10 of them, real events that happened, but that scientists and historians still can't quite figure out. From vanishing ships to unexplained lights in the sky, these are stories that will make you question everything you thought you knew. Get ready to be amazed and maybe a little spooked. Which one do you think is the strangest? The vanishing colony. The air on Roanoke Island was thick with anticipation. A new settlement, a fresh start for English families, was taking root. John White, the governor, left his daughter and granddaughter behind when he sailed back to England for much-needed supplies. He promised to return swiftly. But fate, it seemed, had other plans. Months turned into years. War with Spain delayed White's return voyage. When he finally set foot back on Roanoke soil, a chilling silence greeted him. The houses stood empty, the palisades were dismantled, and not a single soul remained. It was as if the entire colony had simply evaporated into the humid coastal air. Panic must have set in. Where had they gone? There were no signs of struggle, no scattered belongings, no desperate messages left behind, save for one cryptic clue. Carved into a wooden post was the single word, Croton. This was the name of a nearby island and the Native American tribe that lived there. Did they leave voluntarily to join them? Or was something more sinister at play? Theories abound. Some believe the colonists were absorbed into the Croton tribe, peacefully integrating and leaving no trace of their former lives. Others whisper of brutal attacks, of assimilation through force, or perhaps even a desperate attempt to escape disease and starvation, seeking refuge elsewhere. The truth remains elusive, lost to the winds and waves that guard the secrets of Roanoke. What truly happened to those 115 men, women, and children? The Dancing Plague. In the summer of 1518, something utterly bizarre took hold of Strasbourg, a city then part of the Holy Roman Empire. It began with one woman, Frau Trophia, who stepped into the street and began to dance. Not with joy, not with music, but with a frantic, uncontrollable energy that lasted for days. Within a week, dozens more had joined her. Soon, the numbers swelled into the hundreds. People danced relentlessly, their bodies contorting, their faces etched with exhaustion and bewilderment. They couldn't stop. Witnesses described a terrifying spectacle. Men, women, and children, all ages and social standings, were caught in this inexplicable frenzy. They danced through the streets, through marketplaces, seemingly driven by an invisible force. The dancing was not a celebration. It was a desperate, agonizing ordeal. Many collapsed from sheer exhaustion, some suffered heart attacks, strokes, or simply died from the physical toll. It was a plague, but not of disease as we understand it. It was a plague of movement. Authorities at the time were completely baffled. They tried everything they could think of to cure this strange affliction. In a desperate attempt to appease what they believed to be a supernatural or divine punishment, they actually encouraged more dancing. They cleared large public spaces, set up stages, and even hired musicians, thinking that if people danced it out, they would eventually tire themselves into recovery. This only seemed to exacerbate the problem, drawing more people into the madness. Theories abound, of course. Some suggest mass hysteria, a psychological phenomenon triggered by extreme famine and hardship in the region. Others point to ergot poisoning, a fungus that can grow on rye and cause convulsions and hallucinations. Yet, no single explanation fully captures the sheer scale and duration of this peculiar event. What drove so many people to dance themselves to death? The Tunguska event. Imagine a blast so powerful it flattened 80 million trees across a vast Siberian forest. That's exactly what happened in 1908 in a remote area near the Podkamenia Tunguska River. No one knows for sure what caused it, but the sheer force of the explosion was immense, far greater than any earthquake. The sky glowed for days, and people miles away felt the heat and heard a deafening roar. Scientists who later investigated found no impact crater, which is puzzling for such a massive event. The leading theory suggests an asteroid or comet exploded in the atmosphere, just a few miles above the ground. This aerial detonation would explain the widespread destruction without a visible crater. The intense heat and shockwave would have been devastating. The area is still largely untouched, making it a fascinating place for study. Even today, the exact nature of the Tunguska event remains a mystery, fueling speculation and debate. It's a stark reminder of the powerful forces at play in our solar system and the potential for unexpected cosmic visitors. What truly caused that colossal explosion in the Siberian wilderness? The Great Molasses Flood. Imagine a tsunami, but instead of water, it was thick, sticky molasses. That's exactly what happened in Boston one winter day. A massive tank holding over 2 million gallons of molasses burst open. The sheer force of it sent a wave, some say as high as 25 feet, crashing through the streets. It moved at an estimated 35 miles per hour, a truly terrifying speed. The sticky tide swept away everything in its path. Buildings were crushed, horses were trapped, and people were engulfed. The molasses was so dense and powerful, it could rip structures from their foundations. Rescue efforts were incredibly difficult. The goo was hard to move through, and it clung to everything, making it a dangerous and suffocating environment for those caught in the disaster. Emergency services struggled to reach victims. Firefighters and police officers waded through the viscous liquid, trying to pull people to safety. The air was thick with the sweet, cloying smell of molasses, a smell that would linger for months, a grim reminder of the tragedy. It took weeks to clean up the sticky mess that coated the entire neighborhood, a task made even harder by the cold weather. Investigators later discovered the tank had been poorly constructed and improperly tested. It had leaked for years, and a recent addition of warm molasses had likely caused the metal to expand, weakening it to the breaking point. It was a disaster born from negligence and a lack of foresight. Can you imagine the sheer horror of being caught in such a sweet yet deadly wave? And so, we've journeyed through 10 astonishing events that defy easy explanation. From mysterious disappearances to unexplained lights in the sky, these stories remind us that the world is far stranger than we often imagine. They leave us with more questions than answers and a deep sense of wonder about the unknown. What secrets are still hidden, waiting to be discovered? Next time, we'll dive into the world of cryptic messages and codes that have baffled experts for decades. What could they be trying to tell us?